in the air.
Friends of the show, of the podcast, very welcome back to the George and Sherin podcast, episode 31, with a great friend, amazing comedian, fucking wears more hats than anyone else I know, Mr. Adam Burke of Burke, Bingo Burke.
Bingo Burke. Yeah,
Bingo Burke, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
That's a bingo.
That was a very quick start there, Joe.
Do you like
I
it?
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I'm used to it. And
you went straight into it. Like,
number 31.
I feel sorry for your missus.
Oh, yeah.
There was no kissing. There was no kissing. You were just straight in there, got it done.
See what I mean? See, this is...
kisses his missus.
No, he does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke.
That's
He's
why
nothing
he
else
has-
to do.
that's why he
I
has
feel
loads of
sorry for
kids.
I take
feel
me
sorry
time
for
with
your
stuff,
missus
though.
actually at
No,
this stage.
I take me time with stuff. If you're going to do it, do it right.
Like, there's other fellas are out on the piss or getting stoned or something, you're pounding your ma. That's all you're doing.
Not even hound. Take your time.
Right,
He
take
takes
that
it.
time.
Oh, he's one of those
Take your
smooth.
time.
He's
Yeah,
a
I
smooth
just-
operator.
Be mindful.
Sure, look at him. Look at the fucking smooth looking
mindful.
cunt. He's the smoothest looking cunt in the comedy circuit.
Wow.
Without a doubt. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that bleeding hair, by the way.
My
Right, I
wife
have been
cuts
for
my
years.
hair.
What?
My wife cuts my hair.
See,
Because they take me time.
Too much time. She did do the landscaping as well, does she? That'd be funny though,
jeez,
wouldn't
no,
it?
Stop.
Are you right? What?
What landscaping are you doing? You growing a tail?
You put the legs up for the landscaping. That's how they get it done.
Do you?
I'm
Do you?
worried.
Did you never get waxed?
I've never done that. No, I've never got waxed, and I've certainly never popped me legs up over my
Yeah,
head
man.
to get waxed.
Yeah,
no,
well, when
no,
you're getting a
geez,
wax,
no.
I don't know how the girls do it, but when blokes get waxed, they wear that fee for earrings. It's
This
that's what you were
is
told,
so
Joe.
uncomfortable.
what? Fuck off, you! I was here with you and Sean O'Bannon talking about gears.
No, that was an outfit.
Sean O'Bannon's an MMA fighter, you know, from
I know
Paddy,
her, yeah,
And
yeah.
she was like saying, I was getting reached around by my gi, and I didn't realise it was the suit, you know what I mean? And I went
Gotcha.
red.
Gotcha.
Oh, and these two were talking about it, and I got fucking embarrassed. So,
Do you know what's
apologise.
interesting about this straight away is like I've made an argument for you know how professional people like myself, like not just comedian but
Yeah.
professional in terms of mental health promotion, need to get stuck into, you know what I mean, these kind of podcasts and media kind of platforms and speak to like people like on a level, like, you know, speak to the layman, like get your hands dirty, that kind of groundwork, that kind of community based stuff. We're 2 minutes into this and you're talking about people's geese and their legs up over their heads and all the rest. Like, what hope do I have of like saying, you know what, this is a valuable investment of my time in terms of mental health promotion of young people around the country.
him.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Now, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to the show. This is the
great
way
to be
we
here.
roll. This is the way we roll. It is off the walls after, but we do want to get stuck in as well before. So I'll
course.
keep talking, won't I?
Yeah, we'll have to cut him off when we want to talk professionally.
Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, Joe.
We'll have to
I
talk.
know.
If you want
I know the crack.
profession, you're looking this way.
Yeah,
You want shit
yeah.
and banter. You're looking
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh,
I'm
wow.
joking, I'm
What's on there?
joking, I'm
I told you
joking.
to stay in your fucking lane.
I
do the
am in
jokes.
me laying.
Mr. Adam Burke, great guy. And yeah, you really are. I want to say that straight off the bat. When the films, when we first met, we met him, what was it, 13, 14 years ago, would have been?
Yeah, you were. I think you had celebrated your 50th birthday when we met that first time. So yeah, about 13, 14 years
We
ago.
cut
so.
that bit out. Can we edit? Yeah, I did look quite. I look older then. I do now, fairness than I do now, I think.
You're looking younger over the last year.
Sure. She's too close and you're too far away for a slap. She's like, yeah, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So, give us, how did you get into the comedy from the start? Give us your beginning. Where were you before you started doing the comedy and what made you get into that? And then your fucking journey through where to get
Well, we'll start like with a bang.
Yeah.
I was a pro wrestler.
Yes.
I was a professional wrestler.
Fucking yes.
Yeah, so I was a pro wrestler for about
knew it.
probably about 7 or 8 years. I was Ireland's
Yeah.
first heavyweight champion.
Fuck
No
you mentioned
way.
like
no, is this comedy now or is this serious?
No, I was
100%
pro
wrestler.
wrestler, like, so not like, you know, Greco-Roman wrestling. I'm talking like Hulk Hogan, steel chairs, all that kind of lark, you know what I mean? The silly stuff where
Yeah.
you tell stories and,
Right.
you know, you make kids laugh or cry or whatever it is. I was a bad guy for most of those 7, 8 years.
Well, yeah. So
yeah.
you've actually got, when you
Yeah,
go
it's
on
called
the-
a heel. Yeah, like a heel or a baby face, or a bad guy or a good guy. So there was a school got established. My plan was to leave school, go and train to be a pro wrestler in the UK and, you know, chase that dream.
Right.
And then they opened a school in Bray, of all places. So my dad rings me one day and says, "You're not going to believe this." I thought it was like an April Fool's joke in September. I was like, "I'm not having this." And he goes, "No, legit, they're opening a school." So I went down the following Sunday and, a couple of my kind of wrestling friends, if you like, have gone on to become famous millionaires in the WWE. Like, Finn Bálor, Becky Lynch, JD McDonough. Like, Finn was my coach. Becky made her singles debut against me. And I actually, once upon a time, I would have coached JD McDonough.
That's fucking amazing.
So I loved it. Great journey.
I knew you were the wrestling, but we didn't have an ask about that. But I didn't know that's how deep you were, innit? Yeah.
As I say, the country's first champion. I would say wrongly so. There was a couple of guys ahead of me that I felt should have got it before me.
So how did you get it and they didn't?
Probably like luck, circumstance, and a few other bits. Like I was luck. LUCK. Definitely not looks. I wore a mask. No. It was.
I was actually only watching the Hulk thing.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Yeah,
very sad. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a completely different world, and it's one of those worlds where like if you get it, you get it, and you're in it, and you're into it, and that was me. Like I grew up watching wrestling. I went to the Point Depot at the time to watch the likes of Ultimate Warrior and British Bulldog and all those. It was just a dream I wanted to chase. I got into it. I met some of the best people I've ever met in my life through it. And then as I got towards the tail end of it, the reality is I realised a couple of things. I didn't like the injuries. I just didn't like getting hurt.
No way.
Yeah, I loved the performance side of it.
What made you think, bang, these fellas getting fucked around, smacked by chairs and all? I want to do that.
Yeah, like when I saw it, I always,
pain involved.
My dad ran a gym for about 30 odd years in Bray, so I grew up around kind of gym culture and stuff like that. I was always impressed. Like I used to read the fitness magazines with like that Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, Tom Platz and all. I'd be reading these and I was just very impressed by the whole kind of that side of kind of masculinity, this idea that like you can invest in yourself and become bigger than life and that, and then wrestling was that on steroids, literally.
So is it a stunt game, or is it like, I was watching it the other night and I said to Jay, Hulk had like blood all over him. And I was like, I thought they didn't really hit each other.
No, well, the blood's real, like,
and
they do, it's called, like, blading or juicing, or like, so they'll conceal blades, and then when you get hit, you might like it's in your wrist tape. So it's like Magic's biggest secrets revealed here. Like, you might take that out, and you basically will cut yourself. And
did you ever have to do that?
I didn't have to. Like it was on me to do it. But no, I didn't like doing it because I was conscious that like we were wrestling in front of kids, and you can evoke the same emotions and reactions out of kids without introducing blood into it. So I was a bad guy. I was a heel. I used to go out and I'd insult people. I'd slag people off in the crowd. I was a great promo guy.
I can see that in you.
And then what happened was I fell out of love with the bumps and stuff. And look, I said I'd be very transparent coming into this space. I wanted to start a family with my wife, and she said to me, she had a conversation with me one day, and she was like, do you know, if you break your neck, and one of my friends had broken his neck wrestling, she goes, that's kind of off the table. Like, you need to think about this. And it was in that I met Ross Brown, who was becoming a stand-up comedian, and he had trained to be a pro wrestler.
Ross was as well?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Well, me and Ross were actually tag team champions once upon a time.
Right, hold on, because I want to, before we go into the comedy, because I know we're shifting in. So you were famous more or less in the WWE.
Well, no, I wasn't. No, so we were this small little like startup kind of school and company in Ireland, but this was before those guys in our school went to Japan and America and became famous. I'm part of their early days story.
The doors were opened with you.
They were, but I want to be very clear in terms of where I felt I was in that. I'm not responsible for any. I was very lucky to be the first champion. When I said luck, I think it was to do with the fact that I was available to travel around the UK and defend the championship if they gave it to me. Circumstance, I was a good promo guy. I was safe, and that's really important.
Where did you win the championship?
I won it in Bray. I won it in Bray, against a guy from Finglas called Paddy Morrow. Paddy Morrow is the single best professional wrestler the country's ever produced.
Really?
Absolutely. And he still trains people. He's the most, for me, underrated performer. Like, this is a guy that, like, you know, if you really knew the industry, you'd understand his talent. Like, I mean, talent, like, that you'll never see again. You know, once in a lifetime. And a lovely bloke. And I felt he should have been the first champion. And we did, like, he was in the main event with me, and we did exchange that belt back and forth a couple of times. But I feel the only reason he maybe didn't get it was maybe he wasn't available to travel the way I was. And also, it is always a good story that the good guy chases the bad guy to win the belt.
So you were the bad guy and they gave you the belt?
Yeah, I was the bad guy.
So you were like the Andre the
But
Giant.
what was really lovely about it was when I won the belt, like, I was a bad guy for that whole match, but when I won the belt, the crowd stood up and applauded and cheered, and it was a really respectful moment. But sometimes I don't always do well with I chase my ambitions and my dreams, but then I don't do well with compliments. I don't know how to kind of take compliments. I compliment myself.
How old were
I
you?
don't take it. I was 23 maybe. Something like that.
Amazing, well done. That's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, well, it's all fake. So
it's still no,
it's not an Olympic gold medal.
To become a champion of anything, I think, is a massive milestone and
like,
achievement. And
realistically, it is like the fitness whole background and that people are trying to do it. Like, it is a training.
It's a legit sport.
And as theatrical as it is, it's still a skill in it. You just jump up and go on a
and it was fun. It was incredibly fun.
I'm assuming that you learn how to take a whack onto the floor. Someone. Did they do it? Like, everything that you'd see that we would have seen on the fucking...
We trained twice a week, Wednesday evenings, and Sundays we trained for 6 hours every Sunday. I didn't have a Sunday for about 7 or 8 years. Like, I stopped watching football.
Really?
Like, I supported Man United since I was about 7, I'd say. And for 7 or 8 years, I didn't watch football because I knew I couldn't watch the matches. And I literally threw everything into wrestling.
It's funny because when I was watching Hulk when I was watching Hulk the other night, he was saying, like, when he gets into the stage, he's the Hulk. He's not Terry anymore. So Terry is totally different to Hulk. And it was mad when he was doing his content and stuff like that for the TV. He switches into someone when he does that, bro, and all this. And then he just, when he's finished, he's like, all right, that's that done now. See you later. And I'm like, so weird.
Persona.
So you really take on the persona.
Well, he was hardly going home then and fucking suplexing your missus.
Just like, pal.
Take my time. Take my time.
Damn, this is done. Boom! Do you know what I mean? Imagine just, what's your man's name? Fucking that does stays in character. It was that Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that from your wrestling. What are you saying? Clatter hitting the kids and all shit with chairs and all that.
That's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, people often didn't get the juxtaposition of me being a bad guy in the ring, and then what I try to do in my personal life is I try to be a good guy.
Well, you are.
You know what I mean? That's you are from the work I've heard you've done.
You are, and definitely one of the nicest comedians on the circuit, definitely by far.
I paid him to
say
that.
You didn't.
Like,
no,
I don't think
you weren't here when
you
got that fat envelope.
No, because he told me a bit about it. Yeah, that was the donation, wasn't it?
No, you're like, we're 100%. You're one of the nicest guys in comedy, and there's a lot of stuff. And I've often touched base with you for advice, and you've always given me fucking some great advice. You know what I mean? I told me into
That's
Adam.
Brilliant.
What do you think of the Adam? And you went back, bang, and as honest and straight out as you have been. And you always feel that when someone's being that out straight with advice, because not all people give you advice that's for you. Sometimes people are feathering their own. Do you know what I mean? Or fluffing their own feathers. But you've always been like that. And even in the comedy, say, as funny as people are, there's people that are hilarious and not fucking nice people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've always said,
I'm the opposite. I'm nice.
But it's the
I'm
sound.
not funny.
Like, to be even to get on stage, the sound is just as being a nice person and sound and fucking part of that as part of a team player and everything else, because you're working with other comedians all the time is very important as well, isn't it? Sound is just way up there as well.
Oh yeah, it's my number one rule.
Yeah,
it's my number one rule is be sound.
So when then why aren't you sound?
I am sound. I am. You don't know. Ask anyone. No, don't ask anyone. Ask people. I tell you to ask.
You're sound. I know we are bleeding sound.
Actually, I'll tell you to ask them.
Okay. But from 22 to 23, you came out wrestling then, and then you dipped in slowly.
Yeah.
Easy does it. You went into comedy then
I wouldn't
straight
even
away.
say slowly. What happened was I remember vividly the Sunday morning. Ross was there. He was up from Cork. We were doing like a training camp. So we were there the Saturday, Sunday. Ross was talking about doing stand-up and he was doing a bit of script writing. And I said to him, I studied English in college. And I said to him, hey, I've done a little bit of writing and script writing and stuff through college. I was like, would you like me to proofread your scripts? Because I was like, that sounds amazing. Stand-up sounds amazing. I was like, if you want, I'll proofread some of your scripts. And he said, yeah, and he sent me over stuff, and it was just funny and interesting, and I proofread them, and I was throwing him out a couple of suggestions for jokes and stuff like that. And then he was like, do you want to write a bit with me? Like, that's, you know what I mean? I was like, I'd love to. And we just started, like, I started, you know, doing some small kind of, you know, ideas back and forth and that. And then essentially he said to me, you know, if you want to be taken seriously kind of writing comedy, he goes, you should probably try a bit of stand-up. That, like, I'd never thought of it. And I'd gone to see stand-up comedians, and I used, you know, I grew up watching, like, Billy Connolly and stuff like that in my home, like, and I never put Adam and stand-up together. And then he was like, you should probably, you know, think about doing a gig. And he was like, write out what you would, you know, do if you had, like, 7 or 8 minutes. And I started kind of jotting down jokes and all. And then he said to me one week, he was like, I'm coming up on, let's say, Saturday or whatever, and I'm doing, I always remember the pub, the Flowing Tide. It was called Neptune Comedy Club. The Flowing Tide is one street behind the Laughter Lounge in Dublin.
Right.
And he says, I'm coming up, let's say, on Saturday, and I'm doing the Flowing Tide. He goes, your man's going to give you 7 minutes.
Wow.
So he goes, no, better come in with me, do your set. And so I went in. I fully expected to die. I had quite a good set, and loads of those wrestlers came in to watch it. And friends from Bray and stuff. So they supported me, and my first gig was actually good for a new comic because it was gimmicky now. What I'd done was I got a T-shirt that was triggered by sound. So it had the sound bars that you'd have like on an equalizer. So every time the crowd were loud, it would go up. But I made this really dodgy joke. But essentially I said, this is actually rigged up to explosive. So I was like, if it doesn't stay above this, it's like speed. If it doesn't stay up above this line, I says, it's not me that dies on stage. Everybody dies. Do you know what I mean? And they liked that. And yeah, I got some really positive feedback and stuff. And then you start thinking back retrospectively and all, and I realised, like, I wasn't at a disadvantage in that because I had actually done my brother's best man speech, and it's one of the things to this day that I'm proudest of, because I held a room for the very first time trying to be funny for about 15, 20 minutes. And a few people afterwards had said to me, they were like, that is the fun. Now, when I say a few people from the hotel and all, they're like, we're listening to this every week. They're like, that was one of the funniest best man speeches. And my brother still talks about it to today. So what I was, in my head, what I was putting together was, that was a buzz. I like doing that. I feel confident. And then I went out and started booking open mics. And then I learned that I wasn't as funny as I thought I was.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You all laugh them. When you're starting out as well, when people are coming to support you, they're laughing you up and they're find already know you. Some of you get on stage and someone doesn't know you. Sometimes you get on a stage, no matter... They look at you and they just go, don't like this.
Go into a room full of strangers and they'll tell you quick.
If you don't want the people straight away stand on that stage and your first few seconds open your mouth, people can just turn straight away, turn off you. Like, can go against you. And then, so you were then, I didn't know all that, by the way, just Ross Brown, in case Sherin is a familiar, as one of the writers for the...
Young Offenders.
Young Offenders. Yeah. He writes Young Offenders.
You're on episode 6 in the current series, and he was kind of a blind writer and, you know, co-writes in other episodes, but like he has that kind of big credit now, like, you know, on the BBC.
Is he a friend of yours?
Like Ross is like, one of the...
Great comedian.
I've known him years and years.
And he's a radio presenter down on Red FM. They're Red FM. He's a radio presenter. It's quite good, and he's a great comedian.
And Ross was actually the first comedian to ever give me a gig in front of 1,000 people.
Was he?
Yeah.
Lovely. Where was that?
The Cork Opera House.
I was going to say
and that was a real passage of rights for me. I set a bucket list in comedy over the years of things I wanted to do. And for me, like, I was like, I want to perform to 1,000 people. And like, once you do that once, that door will open continuously for you. But Ross was the first to say to me, hey, I'm doing the Opera House and you're going to be my support actor.
Brilliant.
And that was amazing. So he's been great to me.
So do you and Ross still do comedy now?
No, it's only a geographical thing. He's from Cork, I'm from Wicklow. We're both super busy. He has 4 kids, I have 4 kids. He likes, you know, and he's kind of doubled down on his writing more recently as well. He's exploring that path and seeing where it brings him, you know, to the nth degree. And I don't actually, I would say in comedy, probably writing is my least favorite part of comedy. I love just performing. I love ad-libbing. I love chatting with people from the stage. But I love the social side of it. I love creating. I love the creativity, building things as well, building gigs, building festivals, that kind of stuff. That's what floats my boat.
Have you built many festivals?
Well, I run Bray Comedy Festival, so that's so that's.
Well, you weren't messing when you said he wears 40 hats.
So I said that this fella's fucking doing everything and he does it really well.
Do you follow me on Instagram?
Don't. Every guest, no matter who we have on, do you follow me? And like most of them don't.
Well, I've got no social media clout whatsoever. My Instagram be really low. Because of my day job, I don't post much content on my socials. So I just put up photos of gigs I've done, and that's really just to create a kind of a memory bank for me over the years that I can look back and go, I remember that gig, or I know on the 28th of May, I know that was the date we did the Tree Arena. So I know every year I get a reminder of what that looked like.
Brilliant, isn't it?
And that's why I love posting for that.
What's it like running the Bray Comedy Fest? So tell me about is it big? Is it
No, I don't think it is. It probably has a bit of
it is. Like obviously without stepping on that, you started off like anything has to start off at baby steps. 100%. You're doing a couple of bits. Like you've fucking amazing comedians coming, like you've comedians from all over, everywhere, all the top ones.
When is the next Bray Comedy Fest?
February. February.
Is it every February?
Every February, yeah.
And how long is that running now?
We did our 11th year this year.
That's amazing.
I feel it has, like Joe's right, like we've had like great names. Tommy Tiernan's played the festival, Joanne McNally's played it, Dylan Moran played it last year, Jarlath Regan's played it consistently. So like you name an Irish act, they've probably, I think the Rubber Bandits had their last ever live gig at Bray Comedy Festival. So we've had great names, but what I'm actually proud of is there's a couple of bits. One, I think we've retained the heart of the festival. We don't see it as a commercial entity. Like you go to any gig at Bray and it feels like a community. Everybody's it's a small, quaint, real, you know what I mean, grassroots, community-based comedy
and it
festival.
is like that out at that end. Anytime we've ever gigged out there, you've always, and he runs the Hardy Har comedy club in the Harbour Bar in Bray as well. He runs that as well. And that's nearly, every time I've been there, it's nearly always full. It's a fucking great room and great audience. Out there, I don't know, what do you call them? Wicklans?
Wicklovians,
Wicklovians, are they? Wicklovians. Whatever they say. But anyways, they're really up for a laugh. Like I've been there at your club so many times that I've seen the same people coming again and again. And you get return. Like, you get people coming to your gig constantly to the same show. You know you're on a winning thing, but you're happy, and so fucking fair play to you.
No, I love it, man, and I love Bray. Like, I'm so proud of my community.
It's hard work, but it's big.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you know, if you dare to dream something and life is kind enough to give it to you, then I don't think you can really complain about hard work. That's the work I sought out. Yeah. Isn't it a blessing? Like, isn't it a privilege to work hard on the things you love?
Absolutely. And I think when you mention community brain stuff, that I know Joe did say that you work with Feroga and stuff.
Jigsaw.
Sorry, take that bit out.
No, that's fine. Well, I am a youth worker, so Feroga's core principles and values would be very aligned to all of mine. They remind me the same.
Absolutely, So from organising comedy festivals, standing on stage, being a wrestler, is it the community thing that brought you into becoming a youth worker for Jigsaw?
Yeah,
How did that happen?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I wasn't a bold kid in school, but I also wasn't a good kid in school. And I was really dancing with the idea of leaving school early. And the last couple of years that I was in school, you know, kind of saved me and kind of kept me on the right track. So then again, I was privileged and blessed enough to actually go to college. But I went through all of college doing arts. And like at the end of an arts degree, you still don't know what you want to do. And then I ended up doing a master's in geography. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do.
Where you were.
And I was like, I'll go do teaching because that's what you're naturally kind of lined up to do. So I did a bit of teaching for a year, and I quickly realised, no, this is not the relationship I want to have with young people. Where one of power, where I'm bossing them around, telling them what to do and all. And sometimes as a new teacher, that is the approach you have to take.
You go all over,
like, I suppose there's a few things at play. A guy I knew, again through wrestling, was working in that sector and kind of flagged an opportunity that was coming up. My dad really was a youth worker for he worked with Youth Reach. Desi worked with Youth Reach, and
wow,
he was a counsellor.
You can see that in him. Yeah. By the way, every time you go out to Bray, the dad's there. There's no. I don't think of being out there. Desi
goes everywhere.
Desi goes everywhere. Yeah. When he's in the festival, let you picnic and everywhere.
I love that.
He's my best friend.
The whole time.
I love that.
Now it's Robert, and he's again the same as Adam. He's a super sound fella.
I get the whole community thing because like that. I run a charity, so that's why I'd be really interested in. Yeah. How long are you with Jigsaw now?
I'm with Jigsaw 5 years, but this October I'll be working with young people 20 years.
And when we say young, is that from the scale of like 12 up to 18?
12 to 25 year olds.
Is it?
12 to 25 year olds. My dad had worked in Youth Reach. I grew up around, young people who were early school leavers, and the respect that my dad carried in the community, the way people approached him, and the stories people told me about my dad and what he had done for them. And again, voluntarily, my dad was a counsellor in the methadone clinics as well in Bray. So you'll know that like in the 90s in Bray, we had a heroin epidemic, and my dad would have been one of the people that was kind of just supporting lads without judgment. You know what I mean? Like people saw it as a blight on their community, but there were human beings that were also in the middle of this. Yeah. My dad never looked past the human being that was in front of him, and it didn't matter what their backstory was. Like ultimately, your values or your principles are you believe that a person is capable of change, or a person is a human being, or you don't. You kind of look at them and say they're a problem to be dealt with, or you look at them and you're like, I'm going to support you. And that's what youth work is. You look at young people and you go, they're either a problem to be dealt with, or there's something that I can kind of add value in their life, and I can support them. So look, and there's no placing of like a superhero cape on my shoulders here, right? It's really important to say, like, I'm a youth worker. That's how I describe myself. I've again had the privilege, blessed to work. I've been employed to work with young people for 20 years.
I think
I get reimbursed for working with young people. So I'm not out there saving lives and stood at the top of the hill with the flowing cape in the wind. So it shouldn't be about adulation. People say, oh, fair play to you for that. No, I chose this career the way a nurse would choose to support people, through medicine and through care. If you choose a caring profession, I think it's important that you advocate for that profession. But I also don't take the flowers. I get paid to do the work that I do, and I love it.
Did you have to do a degree and stuff to get into your work?
No, I did. But you would have to now. It didn't exist. Now that's me showing my age. It didn't really exist as a degree when I was going to college.
And we only before you had the guest on only here a few weeks ago, and he went through the whole system of before it was two slit with the Eastern Health Board, and he had horrific stories.
He was literally brought to the Eastern Health Board and just said, I can't take them anymore, and they just went straight in.
Right.
And like it would have been, not saying great, I'm sure he did say he had many people like yourself that would have been in the position to being able to help him as a young man, fucking 10, 12, 13 up. But most of the stories that he had, he was putting the first
horrific.
And he had horrible experiences. So we still know what they said. As you said, there was no qualifications.
No.
Possibly
I had to do all mine retrospectively.
Which was still sad as well in a way. But there's people that still get into that type of system either to make money, because foster parents make money out of it as well. People are doing that just out of grade, or just being because it's like the power over kids. Where now, so it's less likely, possibly, well, I'm sure it is less likely, because you have to get qualified, you have to train, you have to be vetted. That's the way it should be. And good that it's like that now.
And I love that you've used the word power there as well, because for me, this is where I get myself in a lot of trouble with my opinions. But my opinions are founded upon what I've learned over the years, and that is like if you're a person who brings a power dynamic into youth work, you don't belong in youth work.
Yeah, it's wrong, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like I look at youth projects, youth centres, whatever it is. Like if you go in there. Now, I could go levels deep on this, but if you go in there as a key holder and you prevent young people from actually accessing the space, using the space that they need to use the space, in the way that they need to use the space. Now, you could go degrees further where you say, should the young people not have keys? Should they not dictate when the centre or the facility is open to them and not open to them? You can have rules and guidelines, absolutely, but they should be co-created with young people.
I totally agree.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And this is where it can fall down, where again, I think most people that are in youth work are in it for absolutely the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely.
But the part where you really need to sit with yourself is you need to sit with yourself if you think that the power dynamic or the dynamic you bring in is based on power. Because if you're bringing that in, I would say fundamentally the foundation stone for your relationship with young people is already 100%.
And you know, it reminds me of a guy I know. You would probably know him as well. You might have met him, Jeff O'Toole. He runs the Echo in Ballymun.
Right.
Went over to meet him about 2 years ago. He's actually he does a lot of acting. He's been in a lot of films. You know Jeff O'Toole?
From Jobstown?
Yeah.
Oh, I know Jeff.
So he's the whole, I think, managing director, will say, as far as I know, Jeff. But he's running the Reco in Ballymun.
Right.
And he literally has them kids running the Reco in Ballymun.
Amazing.
And we were over there the other day, and the stuff they have from the age of 12 up to 18, we'll say, like studios, podcasts, drumming, guitars, everything they want to do. And I think that needs to be heard and in all communities. Every child needs access to a space like that, because not every child does stay in school. Not every child, they have to have an avenue. And I think what he's doing, Jigsaw, the Reco, all these places is amazing. And I think the government need to get behind all of that. And keep growing.
There is this kind of new thing. Well, no, sorry, not new thing, but there is this kind of thing that's emerged about in youth work, like where they talk about the shrinking social spaces for young people. Right. And a really interesting question for adults to ask themselves is, like, what are the spaces where young people can exist with autonomy? Where are those spaces? Where do we encourage young people to just be young people by themselves? And you'll find that there's very few of those. What we like to do is we like to have oversight of young people. We like to, and of course it's important that we prevent harm coming from young people. We reduce risk with young people. But where do we let them actually be adventurous? Where do we let them socialize? Where do we let them be beautiful? Where do we let them just be? And those spaces are shrinking all the time. And I would say actually in some spaces we're forcing the young people out of the very spaces that were built for them. I volunteered for a long time in a local community park, and I remember when there'd be antisocial behaviour, I'd have some residents coming to me or parents coming to me going, there's teenagers hanging around in that park at night time. And I'm like, I know, we got the funding for the teenagers to hang around in that park so that they're not hanging around drinking or doing drugs or robbing places or whatever it is. The very things you were complaining about a couple of years ago, the space is being given for them to prevent them from doing as much of that. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it's important that we don't judge as well those adults. Don't judge the adults, educate them. That's the important part.
Totally
they just, I'll keep on using this word privilege. I grew up in a family where conversation was back and forth, where power dynamics didn't really exist, where you got to negotiate, where you got autonomy, where you got trust, you know what I mean, where you got that kind of wraparound support, where you could fail and not be judged for your failure, where you could get back up and fail again, and your parents still know who you are as a human being, so that didn't matter. Like, that was my experience of childhood. So who am I if I had that experience of childhood to offer anything different to other children that don't have that current experience?
And then you have the parent as well that you understand that's very trying maybe not to be in a power struggle, but terrified of the future of their child, that when they do see what they perceive to be as failure is like, well, I don't want him to fail. So then it becomes controlling, and then it does become where it's not a two-way dynamic. They haven't got their own autonomy and stuff like that. It's a mad dynamic, the whole thing. But one thing I think we all forget as well is that we were all teens as well.
Absolutely.
And when we get to a certain age, like, no, you can't be doing that, and you can't. People forget that we all had to do it, and we all came through it.
But what I would say as well is I don't think there are enough opportunities for parents to have these conversations, to learn this maybe way of raising children, if you like. Ultimately, by default, if you become a parent, you have to just be a parent. You have to kind of get on with it. And a lot might kind of say to himself, I'm not doing a parenting course, but maybe we don't need, maybe there's a middle ground where you say, right, maybe you don't need to go do a course about being a parent, but maybe have some conversations with these people who really understand what supporting a young person looks like, but also how a parent needs to be supported.
And a parent is fearful all the time. Like, my biggest fear as a parent is that my children are harmed, or that they do harm, or that they do drugs, or that they don't, you know, or they fit into spaces where they shouldn't be. It's very difficult for, as a woman, and I'm sure as a man, to just be like, well, you just go live your life and just make sure you don't get in trouble out there, and just go home, sit and watch telly. And when they come in at 12 o'clock at night, you're like, you all right, did you have a good night? It's very hard to be that parent, but there's also a very big reward in nearly kind of being the parent that doesn't control. Like, I used to stalk my kids. I used to drive by them every 5 minutes, and all of you say to me, Ma, you're just like, I can see you coming up the road and sitting there. And then I drive by like Snoop Dogg or something. Just staring. And he's like, I'm just doing nothing. But that didn't do me any good in the end, because then they start to hide. Oh no, she'll be up this way now in a minute. He wasn't doing anything, but he was embarrassed that his mum keeps just driving by.
So would I be, up and down. 100%. You're a fucking headbanger.
But like a weapon. But
if I saw you driving by, I'd definitely run. I would definitely run.
But at the same time, you're just worried about your child.
It's true, and we were just saying about educating the parents. My mum went to like when I was there, because I was a little bollocks at one stage in my life when I was little, and my mum she went and got to them courses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that course didn't work. Don't
mind
don't
them.
Sign up to that course.
Don't mind them. You raised the fucking gem of a son. Don't mind them pricks.
I've never met your brother.
No, my mum sounded. No, but she obviously, because she didn't know how to be dealing with me, and obviously I know fucking all. We all know, as you have a great joke about. The kids have everything nowadays, like the fuck. It's great. But what he was going through, obviously fucking riddled with ADHD, full of sugar. My ma's in a wheelchair. She can't get up and fucking literally can't run after me. My father's out walking till fucking 6 in the evening, do you know what I mean? And having a point that I'm out and walk. I didn't see him till it was dark. So we little run under the fucking house, do you know what I mean? We all the brothers are out. So, but my ma then didn't know how to fucking. But then I remember her going to these courses and doing these things and then coming and then talking to me. Do you know what I mean? And having conversations, and especially I think there's a pivotal point, I think, as a teenager. So, I don't know, like, obviously can't say for girls because I wasn't one, but like as a boy, you have that thing with your ma or having a fucking someone actually sitting and talking to you as a little adult, you know. I just remember that part for me going, fucking hell, when she set me, instead of roaring at me or shouting or throwing something, she was telling me how she felt.
Those parents.
All of that. And it was like, wow, I don't want that be this person that's doing my ma like that. And it's like nearly at a certain point I was like the fucking, as best I could be, and still a little bollocks and getting in trouble, but as best I could be as a son for my mother. Do you know what I mean? Without wanting to bring any and that's, so it just goes to show
them courses do
help.
And the intention of most parents is obviously positive. It's exactly what you are talking about there. They want the best outcomes for their kids. But what I would say is, it's not always the case that by acting in a certain way, like this, let's say helicopter parenting, or, you know, that kind of idea of not letting them off the reins, that doesn't actually always guarantee us the best outcomes. So there's a little bit about supporting parents to understand that piece as well. Another thing I'd say about parenting now is, like, when I grew up, like when I was a little lad, it seemed like parents had each other's backs, and there were communities of parents. You know, it was I wouldn't you know, I wouldn't say something to somebody else's parents. You know what I mean? Because my parents and that, you know, it was it takes a village to raise a child kind of thing. And I think that's kind of disappeared a little bit over the years. Do you know what I mean? And I think on top of that now, what we have as well is a little bit of that competitive parenting. So again, rather than pointing the fingers,
social media parenting, and it's very massive difference.
You're meant to get it right, but rather than pointing fingers, we need to be supporting parents so we can support young people. And I should say as well, sorry, in terms of my work with Jigsaw, you see, Jigsaw is specific to mental health. So all that work I've done over the years in terms of working with young people through youth work, now what I do is I work for a service that supports young people specifically with their mental health. And often the first people to ring us are their parents. You know what I mean? So we need to be able to work with them as well, you know?
We've done it. We got my eldest, and I know she's nearly 26 now, but like that, she's gone through a time in school and she's in first or second year, and our head was all over the place. Do you know what I mean? And I just remember her saying to me, and I couldn't get my head around it. She goes, I can't walk up the stairs in school because she just feels like she's going to fall over or fall. And it was just she was just overloading herself with anxiety. And then she said, but she said to us then, she was like, oh, I think I need a Xanax or something like that. Exactly. And I was like, what? What's a Xanax? So I didn't know. And then, do you know what I mean? And I was like, But she's hearing that off. What other kids are saying, the ma's what they're getting them something to calm down. I don't know exactly what it was. Xanax, maybe it was. But we're like, oh no, I can't be doing that. And she wanted to be babysitter for our cousins or whatever. And I'm saying, no, you won't be trusted to babysit. If you're looking to get a little bit of, said you wouldn't be trusted if you're on medication. But then we heard at the Jigsaw and they're in Tala. And I was like, let's get her in here and go in and go in, and we talked around what's going in, and it was the best thing ever. Do you know what I mean? And she's done that for a couple of years. And even then after, as a young adult, even herself, she's gone and had a little bit, you know, because counselling work just helps for whatever you're dealing with. You know what I mean? We all go through things. I think even when you get to it, become an adult, even if you need it and your head is wrecked, who hasn't done a little bit of fucking counsel therapy and come away from it?
And
that's a good, because you're getting insight from somebody else, and when you say it out loud, it's in the open. You can think about it. It's like writing it down when they say before you're getting asleep or something. It's one of them things, isn't it? So, but the only thing I was saying, the only thing you said, the Jigsaw is from the ages of 12 to 25. We struggled to get therapy for my daughter when she was 8. She was savage. My youngest, as you know, she put a dog like badly, like, you know what I mean, on the road. She was tore around by a fucking massive big dog, and she was all over the place after that. You know what I mean? And for a good while, we couldn't get her. And the schools hadn't counsellors for bereavements. But they hadn't got counselling for like fucking trauma. Do you know what I mean? So for years, and we couldn't get her in anywhere for Anna. We just had to go and get her own. But when I said we got her own therapy, going for it. But there was no little avenue to go like the Jigsaw was set up for, and they could. Like,
and you're
which
never
was sad.
sure.
We were sad for the fact that she's like that, and she's Emma's 18 now, and this is 10 years later. And if she is just as bad now as she was then. Like, she'll ring you crying, going, I'm walking up the road and there's a dog in a garden up the road, like she is. Boy, talk about PTSD, like through the fucking roof, through the roof, like, you know what I mean? So, but that's it. I just said for a little kid. So I'm wondering if there is anyone's listening, and there is something for someone, because kids can have trauma from a really young age.
Oh, of course, like, and Jigsaw isn't going to be like a service that's going to meet everybody's need.
No,
like,
of course not.
We're an early intervention and prevention service, so actually. Like, you know, you're trying to get young people from the age of 12 coming to us as soon as possible with a problem that essentially we can have an impact on. Like, we can have a positive impact in the thing they're navigating, so they can quickly bounce back. But, you know, often young people might need something that's a little bit different in terms of the support that they need. So it's not like that a service like ours is a fix-all for everybody.
Not, no,
but what I can tell you as well is there is a massive demand for services like ours as well. Like,
things are more so now than ever was before.
Can I ask, like, in your experience with 5 years with Jigsaw in Irish Society of Youth, what would be the biggest, we'll say, cause of mental health in young children at the moment?
I can probably speak a bit to the symptoms, like in terms of, like, you know, when I look at my own service and when I listen to, you know, what my colleagues across the country are talking about, it seems that the majority of young people at the moment are presenting with some level of anxiety to begin straight away. Depression will be quite frequently a presenting issue for young people. You might then look at things like early school leaving or school refusal, relationship issues. There might be stuff around kind of, you know, body image, or maybe, you know, their relationship with food. There might be things to do with, like, you know, ADD or ADHD, or we get a lot of young people with autism that might kind of connect with the services. There be a multitude of things they're presenting with, but they're symptoms of something. Like, they're like, and sorry, that's not me using clinical language. No, I'm not a therapist. But when I say symptoms, like, that's what they present with. But when you scratch at the surface, then you're trying to figure out why. Well, I would say that, like, when we look at our health promotion and, like, what we're talking about in schools and sports clubs and all the rest, we acknowledge the fact that, you know, young people have an awful lot going on in their lives. So, you know, they may have kind of responsibilities in school or responsibilities at work. They may have responsibilities at home. They're listening to, you know, things, or they're feeling the everyday kind of impact of a cost of living crisis or a housing crisis.
Social media, I think.
And then, like that, if you're on your phone as well on top of that, and there's a lot of negative press around phones, and I wouldn't say phones are responsible for all of young people's mental health problems, but I don't think they necessarily help, because ultimately, you can be on your phone and you can be absorbing information that relates or pertains to the other side of the world, a war that's happening on the other side of the world, but suddenly in 7 seconds you have a feeling about a thing that makes you feel less safe on the other side of the world, or it might be again something
the world
that's
is way
financial.
smaller when you have the phone.
It absolutely is.
Do you just we were just on that thing about the phone, this thing coming in with the ban on the kids under 16 from the use of the phone. I don't know the full tilt on it, and they just stopping. You're not allowed to use a phone after. Is it like it's just the internet is going to be disconnected? Do you know what the full script of that is, and do you agree with it?
Yeah, I was asked about that actually recently on Ireland AM, the very same question, and I don't think my position has changed on it. I was asked the question whether my life would have been easier with 2 teenage girls if they didn't have mobile phones, and my answer was no. I don't think it is, because or would have been, because ultimately, like, what that does, if you take the problem away from a young person, that doesn't equip them with the opportunity to build resilience. It doesn't give you an opportunity to step into a space that they're in and support them in that space. It doesn't give you a chance to co-design kind of boundaries with each other. So my 2 teenage daughters have mobile phones, but together we've talked about what their phone usage looks like, what kind of platforms they're on, what they're putting up and what they're absorbing.
You've had this conversation with your kids, have you?
All the time.
And I
like
don't know, I know you don't put the kids on social media around, but what ages are they?
My daughter turned 15 yesterday.
That's your eldest one, 15.
And then the second is 13.
Right. And what were they like when you were? Well, obviously, because we don't go near any of that. I've never have done as the dad, and it's, you know what I mean. I would expect in the mammy, I don't know, feel that's a privacy, especially when it's a girl. Yeah. Or they wouldn't want to be fucking on there. Any phone. So I just.
Do you buy your daughters tampons?
No. Oh, I have done. Yeah, I have done.
Would you buy your daughters contraception? Would you buy them condoms? If they're going out to nightclubs and they want
fucking
condoms,
one question at a time.
Would you buy them condoms?
What are you getting at? What's your plans?
Would you talk to them about their
what's
periods?
your plans? Will you ask me about my kids' condoms?
Would you talk to them about periods?
Of course would. I have done.
Yeah, brilliant.
I have done. Yeah.
Brilliant. So why would a mobile phone?
I haven't bought them condoms, but I have borrowed condoms off them.
Right. So why would a conversation about a mobile phone?
No, I just think that's a whole private. I don't know. As I said, just as a part of the fact, I just think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to fucking see what that text. Yeah, no, I get that.
Do.
But so you're a youth work and you have that capability.
No.
I couldn't.
Look
I'd
at
be
this.
terrified.
Youth work hat is off.
Yeah,
Dad hat is on.
I'd be terrified to see something. I'd be like, oh no.
Like what?
So I'd expect not expect the man sounds wrong. I don't know. Just when girls talk or something, I don't know what's.
No, I don't need to go through my daughters.
Between that phone, that mates and something. It's just like I don't want. But
I don't need to go through my daughter's phone.
16, I think you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't need to go through my daughter's phones and see what texts they're sending or whatever it is. Yeah. But what I do need to be able to do is have open, always on, transparent conversations with them that are built on honesty.
Yeah, we've had them conversations, but I wouldn't have went near the phones. I picked them up.
I would if I were you.
And if there was a beep, I wouldn't even look. If the beep in the no, 100%, 100%. I wouldn't want.
It's like don't look for the problem if you don't.
I'm not even
looking
for the problem. I can see my girls, and if there's issues going on, you can tell that they'll come. My girls, we have a great relationship, and they'll come to me immediately when there's something's up. I'm one of the first. I'm not saying but on the phone, and the problems are there, and we do talk like that, and it is as a dad about periods and fucking the pill and all, and there's different reasons why girls take the pill because it's the menstrual cycle. It's this, and my kids haven't even got bikes, and they have this cycle once a month, so I don't know what this.
Wow.
Shut up.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I thought you did comedy.
No, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. I never said that conversation before, but that's all it was, and it's just do you agree with taking away? Do you know if it's taking the phones away?
I think it would be. I think that what they're proposing, I could have it wrong, but I think what they're proposing is that under the age of 16, you wouldn't have a mobile phone, and how they would enforce that is you would need to give state identification to establish your platform, and then from 16 plus you could have a platform.
So therefore the entities which is and fucking TikTok and all, they would have to have a ban on the age, and everyone has to show an age to get the platform.
I think that's what they're proposing.
So they're still able to use that messages.
There's mad nuances to that.
But that Snapchat, I think, is the fucking worst of a lot of them.
It's terrible.
There's that disappearing.
Can't stand
well,
it.
listen, I think this is a minefield of a conversation, just because, like, come on, like, think about it. Take social media out of it. How many times over decades have we had conversations about drugs in our communities, and people are like, that one there, we know that one, but this one, this is the one that'll, if they, you know what I mean? Where it's, and then by the time you build a response to this one over here, oh no, we know that it's this one over here. And it's the same with social media. Like for me, ultimately, it will still always go back to relationship. Solid relationships in anyone's life will trump everything else and will allow you, they will empower you to better navigate any obstacle, be it drugs or social media or falling out of school early or having a howler of a relationship or whatever it is. It's the relationships around you. It's the trusting kind of support network that you have that will always be your go-to. How dare I, and what a hypocrite I would be to tell my kids, don't be on that phone. I'm on that phone.
Of course.
So let's navigate it together. Now, if my kids turn around to me and we're watching a show on the couch at night and they go, Dad, phone, then the phone goes away. My phone goes away. Dinner table, Dad,
kids
phone.
do that.
I love
and
that.
they should.
Yeah, so
And they should. I tell you one thing that I quickly have learned as a parent is, you know, don't be afraid to say sorry to your children. There's another power dynamic. I get it wrong. I know I've got 4 kids, and I know I've been a dad for 15 years. But it's still my first time being a dad. I'm going around.
I always say that.
The block.
It's
for my first time.
It's all a learning curve.
I always say that to my
20s
kids.
and all, I'm still like, it's never. I was making a joke just saying, oh, my youngest is 18. That's me now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not fucking pain maintenance. But it's not. They're always going to be a parent. You're always going to be a parent, even though they get older. Like it is.
And I always say that.
But there is books, but it's your own learning. And your kids and everyone's different individuals. But because I know we've not a lot of time, and we could keep going
forever.
No, honestly, because it is. I love that fact that the Jigsaw. And I know another guy, Damien Sherin, as well. He does the Jigsaw. He does the bikes.
I know Damien.
Damien's a great guy.
Grand Tour.
Yeah, he's my cousin. Yeah, Damien's a cousin of mine. And
great guy.
he does it for Fella Cairn as well. We must talk to him about doing a thing. But anyways, the Jigsaw, well done. You did the wrestling, well done.
What is next for you?
No, well, he's doing the festival. Let me touch in here. Sorry, Sherin, hang on. Stay in your lane. Sorry, listen. No, because I was getting to something where I am is. So you've done that. Then me as well. I've always watched, and I went, fucking this fella again. You and there's more times than never I've called you a prick. You know what I mean? Under me breath, man, that fucking prick. Because Bingo Loco.
Bingo Loco.
This dude is fucking one of the main men for the Bingo Loco.
Talk to me about that. How is he the main man?
He's been hosting Bingo Loco. How many years are you doing?
Yeah, I'm the longest.
Where?
How long are you doing it?
7 or 8 years.
Where's the Bingo Loco?
Everywhere, globally.
You do the actual big Bingo Loco.
I do the Irish ones.
Yeah, he does the whole.
I'm not the only guy. Like,
no, there's a few. You couldn't do them all.
In the likes,
you couldn't do them all. There's all millions of them. I'm super busy doing everything else.
It's probably a dozen or so.
Just so we understand, like in Club 22, do you do the bingo?
Yeah, frequently done it there.
No way. I went to that one night. It's probably one of the funniest, bestest nights ever.
Great.
Yeah, brilliant. So tell us about that.
Yeah,
would you do one for the sister?
Fucking knew that was coming.
I don't own it.
No, I know.
And the 3 guys that own it, you know, the lads have done an immense job in taking it from a wild kind of local concept between friends and turning it into a global brand that has just taken over. They're in North America, Dubai, Australia, all over Europe, the UK, Scotland. And Ireland is the OG kind of crew. Going about 7 or 8 years. I'm only a host.
Yeah,
but as a transpires,
brilliant.
I've been with them the longest as a host.
It was a great concept.
And I love it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And, you know, with it's opened a lot of doors for me. With stand-up, like, you know, my gigs were a bit kind of samey. I was doing the same gigs, same circuit all the time, kind of felt like, okay, what am I doing? And I got this crazy kind of phone call kind of saying, hey, you know, we've come up with this concept, you know, would you be interested? They had seen me at I think a couple of festivals or something, and at a comedy club. We think you might be a fit for, and all the rest. And we've mentioned Desi already. I actually rang me dad and I says, these lads have asked me to go in and watch a show they're doing. I says, it sounds crazy. I says, I don't think it's for me, because I sound so much out past him just because he's, you know, a great sounding board. And he goes, where is it? And I says, Vicar Street. And he goes, well, they must be doing something right if they're doing Vicar Street.
Yeah, they're doing Vicar
and I says,
Street.
fair point. Yeah. So I went in and I watched it. And within 3 minutes of the show starting, there was a brass band, a 12-piece brass band, walking through the crowd in Vicar Street, playing one of the 90s kind of dance classics. And I walked out of Vicar Street and I rang me dad and I says, I don't know what this is, but I'm joining it.
I'm in.
Yes. So I got in touch with the lads then the following week and I says, yeah, sign me up. And when I say opening doors, 3 Arena. Live at the Marquee.
That's amazing. Like I'm actually in awe of that.
The Telegraph building in Belfast. Like I've done my biggest audiences with Bingo Loco.
We've watched it on so many times, and I'm being like, and the fucking buzz and the energy. And
it's amazing.
You bring that, and it's all put together really well. But you have the stage presence and the whole lot, and because you're a comedian as well, and you're a stage man, and you're the soundness and everything. You have that. And he brings it to us, so fair play to that. But it's and again, I look at you and I go, you fucking dickhead.
I'm the same. I don't even know, but I'm a bit jealous.
It's okay to be jealous. It's the biggest form of flattery, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as performers we should never.
I don't think you're a prick.
No, I know.
I know.
But we're all guilty of that, and maybe even goes beyond performance. We're so guilty of looking at what this person's doing. Look left, look right. But actually, you've said it more than anybody in this podcast. In this episode of this podcast, you're the one that keeps on saying, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. I wake up every morning in my lane, and my 100%. Lane actually, the first thing I look at in my lane is my wife.
6 lanes you have.
Is my wife and children.
And
then you get this flood of gratitude, and everything else are just the little hobbies and the little quirks that I'm like, I gave them a shot and I said, let's see how far we can run with this ball. But the reality is, I'm not doing life better than anybody else.
You are so deserving of everything that you're doing. I can tell that by talking to you just in this last hour. You're very deserving of everything you're doing. You're very humbling.
I'm very blessed though, like, because look, the blessings that I've got, not everybody has afforded them. And like, again, as you as well know, I woke up today with a throbbing toothache and my face is it's boom, boom, boom at the moment. And even in those moments, I keep on kind of saying to myself, but I got out of my bed and I hung out with yous today and had a chat, and you know, there's good things in your everyday. I don't get hyper fixated on these kind of things. I'm a very, very ambitious person. I'm trying to having that one trip around the block. I know you've got one life, so I'm trying to live it and I'm trying to chase the things that seem interesting and fun to me. But fundamentally, when COVID hit a few years ago, I got stuck in my house with me children and my wife. And I said, if this country never opens up again, I've been dealt a very good hand.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Family's everything. Can I ask
about your wife just quickly? She must be, does she go everywhere with you and do it? No. So she's very supportive.
She's very, very the opposite of me. She's quite introverted, quite private person. Right. She's like literally my soulmate. I said at the start of this, I said I was that close to falling out of school when I was in 5th year. Well, the reason I didn't was I met my wife.
What's her name?
Sandra.
Big shout out, Sandra. She
so
sounds
I met
amazing.
my wife. She has supported every single thing that I've dreamt of doing and all the rest of it. But also, she knows at the end of every gig, like when I did the 3 Arena, this is the story I love telling. When I did the 3 Arena that evening, I went for a pint.
You did? I
did. I went for a pint.
You never go for a pint.
No. I only drink one day a year. I went for a pint and then I went home. She had been to the 3 Arena and we had a glass of wine at home and said, wow, wasn't that mad? But do you know what else I always tell about that story is the following Sunday, I did the Halfpenny Bridge Inn. I went from 6,500 people to about 13 people. And at that gig, do you know what I said to myself? I'm grateful for this one too. Because every gig's just a gig.
That's right,
every dream you chase is just a dream.
But the people, the energy in it.
The people you're anchored with every day, the people you wake up with, if they charge your battery, if they're your comfort, if they're your safety net, you've been blessed. Blessed.
I love it.
So I've no right to kind of, you know, I mean, I used to be like that, Joe. I used to look at the other comedians.
No, I know, but I'm saying that I know you're super delighted for you, and I'm saying everyone, I've got the opportunities. I've done great stuff too with comedy as well.
And there's other comedians, I look at them and I'm like, oh my God.
No, we get that,
Look, do you know, Joanne McNally blew up, and I tell you something.
I've been to see her in the women's
deserves it so much.
Yeah, she does.
You know what I mean? And you look at it and you go, yeah, would I love that? Probably I'd love to play those big arenas and all. But then I'm also kind of like, do you know what? She deserves it. That's her path.
Exactly.
I'm walking a different path, and there's room for us all. We all have our own path. Everybody can be successful in their own way, and if you put little blinkers on and don't look too far left and right, you'll start to really appreciate what's in front of you.
And you know, they always say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey to the destination.
There is no destination.
There's no destination there in your grave.
Without enjoying the journey.
It's enjoying the journey, the process, and everything.
The first time I met Adam, it was only, I think, was me, you, me and Billy the Corsi. You were there, Emma Doran and E-Man.
Right.
And there was only the 5 of us. We were down, I don't know which gig it was. It was out, I think, Wicked Wolf or somewhere up that way.
Right.
Was that?
I haven't a clue, Joe.
That was like
I've done therapy to forget all my interactions with you.
I'm thinking about going myself.
Can you recommend someone? Yes.
I don't know.
What a man.
This is something memory. Yeah. Me, you, Emma, E-Man and Billy.
And again, it doesn't matter who's...
Just tiny, we were sitting on the seats together and we looked up with fucking 5 minutes each and I was shitting.
And
your head was shaved at the time, you had that bald head, you were going through that.
But see, this is all natural. I didn't have to go to Turkey or anything like. I shaved it by choice, but here it is. Look at this, Joe. Look at it, full head.
Well, listen, the reason the other thing is, how did you not get dragged into a cell in Mountjoy Prison is beyond me. That's how good looking this fella is. You know what I mean? No, it's when we did the gig in Mountjoy.
Loved it. I still tell a story every gig about it.
You fill it in there. How did you get that gig and give us a shout?
It was through the School of Education in Mountjoy. Yeah, it was nothing to do. I'd been in a couple of times with young people, and then I think it was the local. What would the head of the Gardaí at a local level be called? Like your sergeant or super? Yeah. The local super had a connection with
superintendent.
I think he had a connection with the prison or something like that, and they had said about a thing, and he was like, "Oh, Adam runs these gigs in Bray," and they got in touch with me, and they were like, "Could you arrange people to come in and do a little gig and all the rest of it?" And I just looked at it and I was kind of like, I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not, but I knew, again, I go back to an earlier point, you know, I knew I'd get a bit of heat about this idea of going in and entertaining lads that are in there for
I got a bit
in the eyes of, you know, common folk. They've done something wrong, so why reward them with laughter? So I get that from the outside, but again, what I had heard was so many of them had completed these kind of self-improvement courses. They had done junior certs and leaving certs and HACCP training, and they were told as a result they were going to be rewarded or awarded in one way, and they wanted a comedy gig, and it tied into Prisoner Mental Health Week and all this kind of stuff. So it ticked a lot of boxes for me, and fundamentally I'm a person who believes that people are capable of change. So it's like, why not? Why not go in and we'll do this and we'll see what way it goes. And went in and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. You know, the crack with you was just the crack was brilliant. I tell a story and it's too long to tell on the podcast. I tell it on stage every time I host a laughter lounge.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, there's so many layers to the story, but when I contacted Joe about the gig, like at first he was like, I don't think you'd gigged in the prison.
No, I've never done it. And I was like,
and I said to him, come on, like it'd be a great chance for you to see the family, like, and he's like, oh, you fuck off you and all this kind of stuff. So we went in anyway, like, and there was loads of little layers of funny things that I've sewn into the set, but I think the real standout moment, now I got in trouble for telling this story at a lecture picnic. I got in big trouble online, but Joe went in and kind of he said to me ahead of time that he was going to mention the incident in Tala where during the bread shortage of the great snow, the bread shortage, they'd ripped the roof off the supermarket, and he was going to reference this. And what I like about Joe before gigs is, like, if he thinks of something like that is essentially an ad-lib, a feeling in the moment, he'll kind of give you a heads up, I'm going to try this, and then I like watching it and seeing how it forms, and because you get invested and all. But he had himself geared up, and he did this reference, but and he had told me they're gonna love this and they're gonna explode.
About Robin Little's prison.
And it did explode. But when it exploded, unexpectedly, all the lads started turning, jumping, pointing at the guy who actually ripped the roof off the supermarket. He was there around as we were doing the gig.
This dude would have stood up.
Oh, man.
It was me.
Yeah.
No way.
It was phenomenal.
Oh,
So I came out and I was like, I have to write a story about it. Now, I've gone in since and I've told a few stories. I've embellished that story to include other bits that happened. So, like, the last time I went in and you were there, we got stuck behind Enoch Burke's family. Do you remember that?
Right. Yeah,
so we couldn't get in for ages. Like,
and that keeps going to the school teacher.
Yeah, so we got stuck behind them in there, which, I've turned into a little bit of a... No, not at all. And then you might remember in the last time we were in, like, I started doing jokes, which I frequently do about me dad. Yeah. And from the back of the room, one fella just goes, I think I know your dad, right? And I was like, calm down, you pal. I says, that's why you're in here. And I started chatting away and all. And then it goes a little bit quiet as I'm setting up the next joke. And he just goes, is your dad's name Des? Right? And I draw on one of the lads and we just sit in the audience with the lads. And I'm sat there, maybe beside him or Danny or something like that. And next minute, this lad leans in between our two heads and just goes, tell your dad I said hello, won't you? And I went back to me dad and I was like, I won't say his name. Like, I says, this chap? And my dad goes, I met him today in Mountjoy. The lads in there. I tell you another thing that I thought was great beyond the School of Education and all the great stuff they do. Both times that we went in, when you're finished the gig, the lads, without being told or asked or anything like that, they wait at the door while you're leaving and shake your hands. Thanks so much, lads. It's the fact that you've not judged.
It was one of the best gigs I've ever done. And I say that from the gigs that you do, we've all done in basements and big rooms and everything else and theatres and all. Yeah. But and that, the fucking energy in the place, man. It's like obviously they don't get that much entertainment, but they were literally, if there was a chair empty beside them, they were banging it as they were laughing.
Just like great energy.
It almost feels like it could kick off into a riot with just the laughter that we all had.
As you remember, I got in trouble, like I did EP a few years ago,
that was fucking ridiculous.
And some lad, journalist or something, just slated me online
for took the tiny little bit of what your whole set was.
And look, I get it, but his kind of position was, if I'm not from Tala, I can't slag off Tala. I'm like, but here's a man who I've shared my whole comedy journey with. We laugh about this. We bounce off each other. And I'm telling the story about you. And the story's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm telling it because you're there, but somebody else got it. So there's, again, another little bit of a minefield where you have to kind of mind yourself and kind of remind each other. The goal of comedy is to let people just escape their reality for a little bit and just have fun and have a laugh and all.
Like laughter is medicine. It's tonic.
I don't heap a whole lot on it then after that. I'm not trying to think politically. I'm not trying to make a statement. I'm not trying to be meta. I'm trying to have fun. And we had such great fun. Despite, now I'll tell you another thing before we move away from this or maybe close off altogether. But one thing I don't talk about enough on stage and should be named, and one thing he certainly won't mention, is this lad gets himself very comfortable very quickly. The second time we went into that prison, we were told to be there at, let's say 9 o'clock in the morning. I was in there in that prison.
Doesn't surprise me.
At a minute past 9, I had to get me park and run down all there. At a minute past 9, this lad had already polished off a full Irish breakfast in the prison. In
with all the rest of them, all the prisoners, all I'm sitting there having a full
Irish breakfast at a minute past 9.
Do you want something? Where's
I came in, they said, do you want a coffee or something? I'm like, no, I'm fine.
Doesn't surprise
I have
me
me water.
at all.
This lad was on his last sausage.
It doesn't even baffle me.
I mean in the breakfast there.
Yeah, but it was. I remember you going,
I took a photo of it. We were a layer before they took our phones, and you know what I mean. So I had to take a photo of it straight away.
I found a scary bit for me in it, and I'm gonna say I wasn't really scared. Obviously, it's daunting, the thoughts of getting up in front of these prisoners. You're gonna say stuff like this is look, if it's gonna go bad anywhere, it could go bad more in a fucking prison. And they weren't behind bars, by the way. They're just sitting in front of you.
You're sitting with them.
And your man also said something. Now I won't even say it. The warden gave us a warning about a certain situation, and it's sort of just a heads up. This is a certain situation that's in here, but it shouldn't kick off because it hasn't put my... Didn't it? Do you remember that? I don't want to say what it was. Yeah. There's rivals. There's rival gangs that don't like each other.
That are going to sit in the same room
together. They're segregated all fucking the time.
But this is
the only project. Is that what it's called? But this is the only thing in this prison that they set beside each other and in the same room. Other than that, they were killing each other outside prison and in the prison. They had to be on different wings. And he did say that there's rivals here, and fair play to them, because and the way he said it shouldn't kick off, because they all know, for starters, they're getting educated and they're getting a bit of time off and they're getting out of their cell. So there's a lot of benefits for them to do their leaving cert, the junior cert together, and even if they don't succeed and pass or anything, but we're still a bit, and it was great to see, wasn't it? Even though, and me and you are the exact same, and I know you aren't, anyone, most fucking level-headed people is in favour of redemption. No people going, if you go into prison, hopefully they fucking do better for themselves and coming out of it without any more getting back into crime and all. So that's where we are. But we got shit over that as well. You shouldn't be going into prison, 100%. Fucking doing that. But what the nervous part was going in, besides the warden telling us that it could kick off, going in, I was like, then we were in the doors and all, and going through the next set of doors and all that, and taking the stuff out, and I was like, the fucking sniffer dog.
Oh yeah, you were very nervous actually.
Why?
He was.
Just in case.
In case what?
Well, you had something on me.
Yeah, it's like when you're going to the airport, isn't it? You know you've nothing on you, but you're still going through going, what if though?
It's a talent thing as well. Yeah. If you see the guards, I'm like, oh, what? Like, if I'm in my car and I see the guards, I'm like, have I got anything on me? You know
Not
what I mean?
anything on me in the car, but
it's
definitely going to the airport. Like I always panic.
The sniffer dog though, and I thought,
you were
a
very
little bit of a hash. In case I had a bit of hash or something in my pocket, you know what I mean?
A couple of mushrooms or something.
No, but
see, I didn't have that. You slag me off now for not drinking and not, doing anything or anything like that. I went in comfortably to that prison. But my biggest fear actually is, do you know when, like, they say that expression, you can't see the forest for a tree. When you're looking at something and it disappears into the kind of, and you're like, where did that go? You drop a spoon into the sink full of, and you're like, you can't find it no matter what. I thought we'd go in with Joe and we'd leave without him. I just thought you'd get absorbed by the prison population. You know what I mean? That you just fit in too well.
It was a ploy. I just want a gig. Slap the wrists on. It's only half an hour. Do 6 months later, Joe was getting out.
But it was actually talking about that stuff honestly in front of them. That I think that's why they accepted us. I went in there. I'm probably known, if I'm known at all, in terms of comedy, for doing crowd work. Like I like interacting with people and coming up with what's funny on the spot for them or for us or whatever. And I remember the first time I went in, I was like, this might be the death of me. And I had this decision to make. The first time I went in with Steve Cummins as well. And Steve is one of the most experienced MCs. And I remember him saying just before we walked in through the doors, he goes, "Are you sure you want to host this?" and my brain said, either you quit now and you never do it, or you go in there and you challenge yourself. 100%. So I went in, but I said, no, I'm going to double down. I'm going to do crowd work.
And you did
and I'm going to go hard. That's the way you had to do it.
I was surprised you didn't get stabbed. I really was.
Yeah.
They
took it so well, though, didn't they?
But the other thing was, because, and you could fucking say it you wanted to them, the rest of the prisoners were loving it. They were like, punch, you're fucking getting. This cunt was all over them. Look at how good looking this fella is and all.
I love that. That's brilliant.
And they all got it equally.
Yeah, they all got it equally.
I just went along
your man's
the line.
Runners, though. Your man's runners, and I said, what the fuck looks like the Little Mermaid shit. Your runners and all this. Like, it was all big colour. You were slagging the bollocks out, and we went, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing what he's doing.
I really do think, having had this conversation with you today, I really do see where you get the 40 hats from. I think you're very humbling. I think you're an amazing person. I think well done on all your achievements. I say that because I do know we're an hour and a half in. I can see Carl is pushing back the chair. No, but I do. That's genuinely. I don't say that to our guests. But do I?
No, you don't. You're very selfish with your thoughts.
I think you're a very humbling person and well done on all you've achieved so far. And best of luck for the future.
Yes. So before let's end on what's ahead of you now? Is there coming up? You planning that? Are you just rolling through it with as
like
what's going on? Yeah, comedy and gig wise. What's going on? Is there any big events? Are you doing the lights again? I know you fucking
Christmas lights.
He does all that.
I do them every year.
He's a pillar of the community. Another reason to call him a prick. You know what I mean? He gets asked to do the lights in Bray. He wants the lights on.
Christmas lights,
yeah, the Christmas lights.
Bring me kids every year. Well, they dance in it now as well.
Yeah, do they? That's brilliant. So you have a lot of stuff going on.
No, in the summer, loads of gigs with the Hardy Har. I'll continue doing the bingos throughout the year. Hope to do a bit of support work, bit of festival work this year, that kind of stuff. I'm kind of working in the background on a show that is not a solo, but like it's more sketch based.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm doing that at the moment, and
wow.
really happy with the first
well, looking forward to see that. Yeah.
But, no, the main thing is keep on.
Just
keep
yeah, going through, and you're doing great.
Family man.
And on that note, and it's I want to give you a round of applause, Adam Burke.
Brilliant.
Thanks so
much.
Bingo Burke. It was a great episode, by the way. We could have talked for ages
forever.
there. And so thanks very much for them. Give Bingo Burke a follow. Make sure you follow his page and go and see him doing live comedy, and go and support the Hardy Hard Comedy Club and the Bray Comedy Festival in February. Go and see all the gigs. It's amazing. Thanks very much. And thanks so Sherin, my co-host. Thank you, Sherin, for being fucking amazing co-host. Carl over there as usual, smashing the shit out of us, setting the room up. And I'm Joe Irish. Have a good day. Thank you. Thanks very much.